Welcome to Arrow's Cottage Food Technical Assistance video series. This will be a series of videos focused on addressing topics identified in a statewide needs assessment, town halls, and interviews with cottage food operators. The first three videos will cover marketing concepts and how these concepts apply to a cottage food business. The next two videos will address small business management and managing financial risk for a cottage food business. The final video is a tutorial specific to completing a cottage food registration application. All of these videos, along with many other resources for cottage food operators, can be found at the Arrow website, which is www.aeromt.org. This session will cover marketing basics and how to apply these concepts to generating leads for a cottage food business. We will be joined by Yuliya Childers, a cottage food baker in Alabama, with specific tips on using social media and other online marketing platforms. In basic terms, marketing is the process of identifying your customer, their needs, and determining how your product can best meet those needs. In contrast, advertising is the exercise of promoting a company and its products or services through paid channels. So the difference is particularly important for small businesses because the focus is on the message, not on the amount of money used to promote the message. The strength of effective marketing is understanding who your customer is, what they value, and how your product can match those values. All of these pieces together create your brand and, in theory, the success of your business. So in thinking about how marketing can translate to sales, one fundamental concept is known as the marketing or sales funnel. And this is the idea that a customer goes through a process when purchasing a product or service. And they move through a series of stages in this cycle as they learn about a product, educate themselves about a product, evaluate different options, and then make a purchasing decision. The steps in the cycle can be called different things, but they're generally awareness, consideration, and decision. And as a business, your goal in marketing is to communicate to the consumer where they are at and in a way that allows them to progress through these steps. So there are tangible things that you as a business can do to influence potential customers in each stage. So in the first stage, in awareness, your marketing goal is to generate leads. So this is identifying and finding people who might be interested in your product. At the consideration level, your goal is to differentiate your product and to connect with a buyer and build preference for you and your product. And then in the final stage, in the decision phase, we want to make it easy to buy. So in this stage, we're thinking about convenience, promotions, coupons, things that inspire people to act. So in this video series, we will go through each of these steps and identify tips for a cottage food business at each point. And this video will start with generating leads and specifically low-cost, high-reward options for cottage food businesses. So when we look at marketing and advertising among small businesses, social media is the clear standout. 91% of small businesses use social media as the primary source for marketing and advertising. So when we look at why, the first reason is social media is ubiquitous. Most consumers in the United States are using social media, and a large portion are specifically using Facebook. The second reason is low cost. Social media is inexpensive, especially as compared to websites or other forms of paid advertising. And third, social media allows a business to target their audience. So it is one of the most effective ways to find groups of people who might be interested in your products and makes it easy to connect with the right customers. So from here, we will hear from Yuliya. Again, Yuliya is a cottage food baker in Montgomery, Alabama, and we will hear how she uses social media to promote her business. So welcome, Yuliya. Yuliya is also known as the Bread Lady. She's a cottage food baker in Prattville, Alabama, and her business is called Wild Yeast Kitchen. I encountered Yuliya at a home-based food entrepreneur conference earlier this year where she shared wonderful, useful tips for cottage food businesses. So we've asked her here to join, to have her share her insight with us on these tutorial videos. So Yuliya, thank you for joining us here in Montana.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yuliya, can you tell us about your cottage food journey? How did you get started and what is your business like today?
The short version of it is I'm from Ukraine, and after I moved to the United States, I really missed Ukrainian bread. And for years, I was trying to obtain something that was comparable to it with various degrees of success. And then eventually I met a person, a former compatriot, who introduced me to the wild yeast. And I started dabbling in wild yeast bread baking. And I got hooked. It's a habit. So when I got more or less some idea of how to bake bread, I started poking around to see how I can pick up better skills. And I found the San Francisco Baking Institute. I got very interested in their professional baking program, which was an immersion course that is about three months long. And I came to a conclusion that I can't afford it right out of pocket. And I started baking for a local summer market to save some money away for that school. I had no idea that it was going to take off the way it did. I started very small. I baked like 20 loaves and people started tearing me apart. So before I knew it, I became the bread lady and I started making very decent money. And in 2 years after I started, I went to San Francisco and took that course. So my business is doing pretty well right now, even with the pandemic going on. The model of my business shifted a little bit because people didn't want to, have contact and come to the market in droves like they used to. But I had a lot more deliveries during the thick of the pandemic. I had a lot of not in-person orders. I had some online ordering, and I delivered to the houses, which increased dramatically last year. And now it's kind of gearing slowly back to where it was before the pandemic. So I'm doing pretty well. I'm in high demand, but I wish I could bake more, but right now, the way things stand with the kitchen oven, I'm still sort of keeping it small.
So when you say small, you went from 20 to what's your volume like these days?
I think the peak weeks that I had, which was a couple of years, that was before pandemic, I probably baked 90 to 100 loaves plus pastry, plus bagels. Now I'm a little bit down, but I'm also not killing myself, so that's good. That's a good thing. So it slowed down a little bit, but not because of lack of the demand. It's just I kind of artificially keep it low. So
great. I'm glad to hear you're doing so well.
Yeah, thank you.
So you kind of already answered this, but are there any other beginner tips or marketing success stories that you would like to share?
Right, sure. I think that one of the best things I can advise anyone, stay comfortable. Don't go all in. Don't try to invest a ton of money into it offhand, because you don't know if you're gonna like the lifestyle. First of all, baking at night and working the long hours and doing physically demanding things. So don't dump money into it right away. Try a little bit, try small things. Second thing is definitely get on social media. If you don't have a business Facebook page, you should, and it needs to be completely separate from your personal page. Don't mix and match. Your friends, no matter how much they love you, they're going to get sick of seeing bread posts or cookie posts. They're going to say enough, and you're not going to be on their timeline anymore. So open a business page and post there, and post frequently, post often, post a lot of photos of what you do or what you're planning to do, and talk to your customers there. Find a local foodie group, which I'm sure every community has, whether small or large, and start introducing yourself there. Obey their rules. Some of them will ban you if you post more than once a week, but like that foodie group as your business, so that you can post there as a business. And don't forget about them. Like every week before your market, you need to introduce them to whatever you're baking, and they will come.
Great.
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned this, but you would advise, or you've had more success with social media as opposed to like building a website, or what's your thoughts on that?
My personal experience with the website, and it is quite possible that I'm not doing it right or not doing enough. My website is there just for the informational purposes. It literally has 3 pages, where to find me, how to buy my bread, and what kind of bread I'm making, and maybe a few photos, and how to contact me. That's it. The rest of the stuff I do on Facebook, because a lot more people are lurking on Facebook nowadays, and people can sell on Facebook nowadays. So a lot of stuff is going on there. And website is, just think of it as a digital brochure. You need to put basics in a very condensed form, but in a very accessible and memorable form on your website, and everything else you can do on social media.
Great.
That's what works for me, at least. Yeah.
I think that it seems pretty common. The cost of building a website can be hard to maintain. So it seems like they end up.
I wouldn't agree with that, but it's not. Websites are cheap nowadays. It's getting your personalized email and all that kind of stuff. That costs money. But websites like WordPress, you can go and get a free website there, and it's point and click, and your pages are done within 3 hours. You'll be fine. Not that bad.
But you would recommend using the time to update and the energy to update it on social medias?
Yes, I would definitely, unless you're really, really passionate and you like to blog, WordPress will give you that opportunity also. You can do regular blog posts, people will sign up for them if they want to. And also you will be able, every time you blog post, you can set it up so it posts on Facebook automatically. So your Facebook page gets updated immediately.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So it seems like having new and engaging content is more important than having a fancy.
Because you have to think of a customer as a 2-year-old. If you don't keep them entertained, they will forget about you in 5 seconds. So you need to keep posting. You need to keep engaging. You need to do polls, contests, jokes, funny photos. Oh, look at that dough. It just flopped on the floor. They need to see something. I think that it's important. The frequency is more important than almost more important than quality.
Right.
Yeah.
So we will take a moment to look at Wild Yeast Kitchen. Again, this is a business Facebook page. And these pages are clearly designed to communicate about a business as opposed to the personal Facebook pages. So you can actually add e-commerce, so the ability to shop on a business page. There's communication tools, so easy ways for potential customers to reach out and ask questions. And then the capacity to backlog information, location, you can embed a map. You can also link to a website, add phone numbers, and add business hours. And of course, you can also generate content, videos, photographs, and this is a great place for your customers to connect with each other and to communicate about your product. So this is looking at the backside of a Facebook business page. The Facebook business platform provides a powerful functionality on accessing the right customers. So first of all, it allows you to segment your audience. If you're putting your ads in front of the wrong customers, it doesn't matter how good your product is, they won't be interested. So over here, we see the capacity to choose your audience. So you get to segment your audience based on age, demographics, location, etc. Facebook also has the capacity to engage with groups. So many communities have existing groups on Facebook that might match your products, whether that's local artisans or local food groups or other niche markets. These are extremely effective as they are already self-selected. So if your product is a good match, it helps you find customers immediately. And then your customer base can grow as they share among their peers. The second piece is their ads function. So Facebook ads allows you to target an audience, again, through this, choosing your audience through the demographics functions. You get to set your own payment thresholds. And then most importantly, through their insight function, which is down here, you can see how effective your ads are. This allows you to get feedback from your customers on how well those ads are performing. Thirdly, Facebook allows you, through their business suite, to schedule posts. So we heard from Yuliya that social media is only effective if we engage with our customers. So in Facebook Business Suite, you can schedule posts so that your Facebook page is not neglected. And then finally, the Facebook Business Suite allows you to cross-post on different social media platforms. So thanks again for your time, and please refer to the Arrow website for the additional videos and additional resources for Cottage Foods.